talking about tear staining. So I get lots and lots of questions on tear staining in the comments, and I wanted to address some very important things because I think it is something that a lot of people struggle with. I know personally I have struggled with this with Stassi and also with Harper, and I can tell you it is a very aggravating problem. So the first thing that I wanted to tell you is that anytime you have hundreds and hundreds of videos on one particular topic or hundreds and hundreds of products to fix one particular thing, that tells you that there is no easy solution to that particular problem. And not every one thing or one product will work on every single dog. It's just the way that it is. There are so many factors that factor into why dogs tear, how to fix it, how to correct it, what to do with tear stains, that it can be quite overwhelming. So I just wanted to give you my thoughts on tear staining, just some helpful hints and ideas, and also to give you an update on Stassi's tearing and to tell you exactly what I am doing these days in regards to her tearing. So the first thing I want to talk about is your dog's age. I get a lot of comments that say, my puppy is teething, he's 14 weeks old, what can I do? Or my puppy is teething and they're 5 months old, what can I do? The first thing I want to say is that most puppies, especially with the shorter noses, tend to tear while they are puppies. And they are puppies until they are about 1 year old. So if your puppy is tearing, it is completely, usually normal. So don't expect for that to go away anytime soon unless you happen to be very, very lucky and have a puppy that does not tear, which that is very lucky because I tell you, I have dealt with it with Stassi since she was a puppy. I have dealt with it with Harper, and it is no fun, I can tell you that. So most puppies do tear, and they say that it's because of teething. I'm not really sure if that is the true cause of it or not, but I do know that most puppies do tear, and I also know that a lot of times they will outgrow it. You just have to be extremely, extremely patient and diligent while they are going through that tearing process, which can be, like I said, a very long time, with keeping their faces nice and dry, nice and clean, so that you don't get a whole lot of staining and, you know, minimize that staining. So you have to be extremely diligent. With Stassi, she is 17 months old now. I think she's 17 months old. 17, let's see, she was born in May and we are November, so June, July, August, September, October, November. Yes. So on the 18th or the 17th of this month, she will be 18 months old. And I can tell you that just recently, I have noticed that she is not tearing as much. So I definitely think that the way that their face changes as they mature has or plays a big part in when they stop teething. With Harper, did I say teething? Tearing. Sorry guys, tearing. So with Harper, she actually teared tremendously up until she was 3 years old. Now, once she hit about 3 years old, I noticed that her tearing got so much better. So I went to my Cavalier show breeders and I asked them, could this be possible that, you know, she was tearing all this time and then her face or her head has changed in a way that now she's not tearing as much, but she's 3. And they said, absolutely. Cavalier King Charles Spaniels are one of those breeds who develop very, very slowly. She is not spayed, so therefore her head is still developing, or was still developing up until about the age of 3. So as that structure of their head changes, so does the plumbing. So, you know, my ophthalmologist or my veterinary ophthalmologist always told me that, you know, it depends on the plumbing of a dog and the anatomy of the dog's face as to whether or not they're going to tear. That's only one possible issue. Like I said in the beginning, there are so many possible issues, but the anatomy of the face plays a big part of it. And as your dog and puppy is developing, so are the bones and structures of their face. So water cannot take the path of least resistance. So if their nose sits a little bit higher than their eyes, which Stassi's did for a long, long time and probably still does a little bit, when her eyes tear, which, you know, all of their eyes normally tear, that's just something that they normally do to keep their eyes well lubricated, the water that is in the eyes that would normally go down the duct in the inside of their face comes out onto the face because their nose is a little bit higher than their eyes. So when you have puppies, a lot of times, you know, that is the case because they're just not their anatomy is just not designed in a way where that tear will go down the right duct. And sometimes that does get better with age. Sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes it does. So that could be one possible cause. Another possible cause for tearing could be blocked tear ducts. Some puppies are born with that, and if you go to your vet, they should be able to put a dye down in their eyes, and then they will look with a light in their nose, and if the dye does not come to the edge of the nose, then you know that your puppy or your dog does have blocked tear ducts. So that could be a possible cause as well. Another cause for tearing could be allergies. So with Stassi and Harper, I did go through the expense of getting them allergy tested so that I could definitely see which things to avoid if at all possible, especially food items that would cause tearing. So just like you may have an allergy to a certain environmental thing or food and it causes your eyes to water, the same thing is with dogs. So definitely if you have a dog that you are having a lot of issues with tearing, you may want to check into getting them allergy tested just to make sure that you're not giving them any kind of foods that will cause their eyes to water or any other environmental things that could be causing some irritation to the eyes. Speaking of food, what you feed your dog is also a big part of how much tearing you're going to have. In my experience, whenever my dogs are fed a 100% pure raw diet, their tearing is much less. Raw is the absolute best thing that you can feed your dogs. It is what dogs are designed to eat. And it doesn't have to be like raw meat and raw bones. That's great if you can do that. But in my own, life, I am too busy to do a 100% total raw diet like on my own. So I cheat and I get Nature's Variety raw bites. There are all sorts of, there's the medallions, there's the patties, and then there's the little bitty raw bites. Another thing to consider when you're talking about tear staining or tearing, I don't want to say tear staining. Tear staining is the result of tearing, but you guys know what I mean, right? So, but another thing that you have to kind of rule out is if your dog has anything going on in the eye that could be causing excessive tearing. So some of those things could be ingrown eyelashes, such as distichia, and or the rolling in of an eyelid, and that is called entropion. Both of those things are fairly common, and they can cause your dog's eyes to tear. So a quick trip to the vet, and if you have a veterinary ophthalmologist, that would be even better because they do a lot more specialized testing, which is mainly just like looking in the eye with special equipment that will easily tell them if your dog has any type of problem like that with the eye that could be causing the excessive tearing. Now, we've talked about all sorts of reasons for tearing, but what can you do if you have the tearing? Well, sometimes, you know, you can do everything that you can possibly do on your own. You know, you can change their food over to raw. You can make sure that they drink out of a water bottle with purified water. You can, you know, check out their eyes with a veterinary ophthalmologist to make sure that they are, you know, not going to have any type of ingrown eyelashes or rolling in of the eyelids that is causing the tearing. And then also you can check to see if they have allergies that may be causing the tearing. So you can do all of those things, and all of those things I highly, highly suggest. But you also will want to know, what can you do if you still have the tearing? And the most important thing to do when you have a dog that tears is to try and keep that face nice and dry as much as possible. Now, I know that from my own experience, it is extremely hard, because you will do everything that you can possibly do, and then, you know, an hour or two later, the face is wet again. But you just have to be diligent if you want to keep those tear stains away. So what I do with Stassi is I clean her face every single morning with a product called Clarity No Rinse Stain Remover. It is made by Show Premium Pet Products. If you go through the playlist and look in the grooming playlist, you will see a daily morning routine. I'm basically still doing that every single morning. But at almost 18 months, I will tell you that every now and then I can skip a morning of doing that, and her face is not bad at all. So I definitely think the structure of her face is changing, and fingers crossed that, you know, we can go every other day to doing those normal, you know, every daily washings, because, you know, it is a lot to do that every single day. So it's nice to be able to take a break every other day. But up until like just a month ago, it was every single morning without fail. I had to clean her face every single morning, because if not, she would be a total stained up mess. So I am extremely happy to see that at almost 18 months old, I'm seeing some improvement in her tearing, so that we don't have to go, you know, we can skip a day every now and then in her daily washing. So you want to use a product that is going to clean that area and keep it stain free and also odor free, because the tears contain bacteria, and that bacteria gets on the skin and then creates yeast, and yeast is very, very stinky. So the Clarity No Rinse Stain Remover does that very, very well. I also use an eye wash on her called NutriVet every single morning, and that just gets out like all of the gunk that is in her eyes from overnight. So I put that in her eyes every morning. I also started using Chris Christensen's Peace and Kindness Silver Colloidal Spray inside of her eyes about, it's probably been about maybe 4 or 5 months ago, and maybe that is the difference that I am seeing. Because, you know, you don't know one particular, you know, reason or another where, you know, you have something that's helping, and you know, if you're using several different products. But I love using that silver colloidal spray in her eyes, because I definitely have seen a difference just on the day-to-day basis with her eyes staying drier. So I think that also could play a big part in why she's not tearing quite as much lately. So I highly recommend that. It comes in a blue bottle, and I'm sorry that I don't have any of these products to show you, but these are all products that I have done videos on, and if you go back in the grooming playlist, you will see those products in depth. And then after I wash her face and put the stuff in her eyes, I use a drying powder. Now I am currently using a drying powder by the company called Page One. You can Google them. I will also leave the link in the description box below for you guys. But it is a drying powder very similar to the Paw Marks drying powder. I use both. I love both. and I would not know what to do without these drying powders. Once I clean the face and dry the face, I put on the drying powder, and it just keeps her face dry for as long as possible. Sometimes I have to reapply during the middle of the day. Sometimes I use once a day. Sometimes I use 3 times a day. It just depends. That's basically what I am doing for her, face-wise. I think that it's helping, and like I said, I'm not sure if it's her age or if it's any other reason other than, she's growing up, or the Chris Christensen Peace and Kindness is helping. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna go with whatever it is that's, what I'm doing right now is basically what I'm gonna keep doing because I am seeing great improvement. Stay diligent. If you have a puppy, just stay patient, because I promise you it should get better, but you have to stay diligent and patient because it is a tough job, I tell you, dealing with a dog that has tear stains, for sure. Sorry Stassi has flew the coop, but she was getting a little anxious. She wanted to get down and go drink some water and go potty, so I let her down a little while ago. And I know you're missing her right here, but she is, if she's not gonna be happy up here, I'm not gonna have her in the shot just to have her in the shot. So she was getting a little antsy, so I let her down. All right, so hopefully that answered some questions about tear staining, the causes, and what you can do about it if you have it. I know that it's aggravating, guys. I know, believe me, it's one of the things, pretty much the only thing that really, really upsets me and gets to me about the whole grooming process is dealing with those tear stains, because I do work so hard to keep them so clean and so pretty, and those darn tear stains can drive you nuts. But I'm here to tell you that there is hope. Don't give up. Stay diligent. And that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe to our channel, and we will catch you on the next video. Bye guys. Hope you're having a great day wherever you are. Bye-bye. So I just wanted to give you some thoughts on tearing, and also to give you an update on Stassi as in regards, oh my gosh. I just wanted to give you my thoughts on tearing and give you an update on Stassi's situation. I just wanted to give you some, I don't know what the hell I wanted to give you.